Hey y'all, it's Kayla. I am editing this video actually and realized I did not do any kind of an intro for you guys. So in this video we are going to be making a sourdough starter and just a super simple sourdough bread. If you have never made sourdough, it seems like a really long and involved process. I recommend watching the video first before reading the instructions at all. Don't read sourdough starting instructions because it looks like so much, and I promise you it's so simple. It's really not that hard. So just watch the video first. If you don't even need to read the instructions after that, great. If you do want to read the instructions just to have it there in a written form, that's fine, but like don't get overwhelmed by the amount of text in the instructions, and I'm really going to try and simplify it too. Oh, you guys like my lovely band-aid here? I tried to chop my fingernail off the other day. It's pretty bad. It's like through the whole nail. So band-aid it is, and gloves when I cook. Lots of fun. So yeah, I just wanted to do like a brief introduction of our sourdough, and if you guys are joining me from the group, I would super appreciate it if you would like this video and follow my YouTube channel. I just need to get up to 1,000 followers so I can use my camera when I'm doing live videos for you guys. Like that's really all my goal is. Right now I have to be able to use my phone camera. Right now to do live videos I have to use my laptop camera because I don't have a fancy camera yet that I can hook up to it, and YouTube doesn't allow you to use your phone until you have over 1,000 followers. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this sourdough starter and sourdough. Gonna make a sourdough starter. It's super easy, super duper easy. So I have white whole wheat flour here. Wait, let's see what you guys can see. This is the one I get from, it's made here in Montana. Oh, I can't, the angle. There we go. It's made here in Montana. I really like this flour. It's a really good one. So we use 1 cup of a whole grain flour. You can use all-purpose flour. Whole grain just usually picks up the wild yeast better. It like feeds it better or does something. I don't remember. There's a whole sciencey reason that if it were any other day I could probably tell you, but today my brain is fried. I'm gonna go get a 1/2 cup of warm water to add to that. Okay, I'm switching camera sides because you know my sink's over here, so hey. All right, so add a 1/2 cup of warm water, and then we just stir this until it's well mixed together. This might need a little bit more. Most people can get away with just a 1/2 cup of warm water, I promise you, but here in Montana, you always need like triple the amount of water for anything, I swear. I've made this before in Georgia. It just didn't make the move up here, and I haven't made one since. Come on. Yeah, it's gonna need a little bit more to get all of that. Really, the goal is to just have all of the flour incorporated. And it's just taking me more water. But when I lived back in Georgia, 1/2 cup did the trick. There we go. That's what I want. And then this, I'm going to make sure everything is good. Just scrape around the bottom, make sure there's no raw flour stuck on the bottom. I am going to cover this with a piece of cheesecloth and screw that on. And then this is going to sit above my wood stove to stay warm, and I will show you guys the next step tomorrow. Okay, so it has been about 24 hours since I started. You can see it's already bubbling in here. Yay, I'm so excited. I was a little worried since it's winter that it wouldn't start, but it has. So it's been a little over 24 hours. I did this like in the middle of the night the other night. We had a really late dinner. It was almost 11 o'clock when we ate dinner. So here it is. So what we're going to do for the first day is we're going to take out half. We're going to take out half of this. Oh. Come just a little bit more. All right, so half is about half a cup. I'm not measuring, I'm just eyeballing. That's okay. It's already starting to smell sour. Starting to smell yeasty. Okay, so now that we've taken out half, we're going to switch to an all-purpose flour. Again, this is just from the same Wheat Montana place that I like. If you wanted to, if you're gonna have like whole grain breads, you can keep using a whole grain starter, however you wanna do it. Doesn't matter. So we're going to add in, oh goodness, I just poured flour all down my front. A little, like barely a cup of flour into this. Try not, I was gonna say I'm gonna try not to make a mess. Obviously that's not gonna happen today. And then, again, we're going to add in half a cup of warm water. Warm water for me, if you're in a hot place and your inside temperature's like in the 70s all the time, you can do cold water, room temperature water, but for me, I need warm water. So add in about half a cup, and we'll see how that does. Mix it all around. And you want to really get in there and mix it in with the starter that you started the other day. Yeah, I'm gonna need a little bit more water. And just really incorporate it all. Now, I had bubbles starting. Some of you guys might not have bubbles on your first day. You might not have the air pockets, and that is okay. It can take a few days for the yeast and bacteria and everything to really get going. Tiny bit more water. God, it's so dry here, you guys. So dry here in Montana. Okay. I think we're about where we want it. Just make sure it's all mixed together. You really don't want, so here, I'll show you guys how I've got like, let me see what you can see, how there's like floury bits in there still. You don't want that. You want it to all be nice and incorporated together. You don't really want those big dry bits. But I think that this is just a matter of mixing, not necessarily needing more water. It's just gotta mix together here. Oh well, actually no, we still have a good clump of flour in the bottom. We're gonna add just the smallest bit more for me. So I think again, today I've used about 3/4 of a cup. So not too much more than what most starter recipes will call for. And I'm just measuring for y'all's sake. Usually I just throw crap in here until it looks right. I've done this a couple times. I'm really bad about forgetting about my starter every once in a while, and then I have to make a new one, which isn't good. Okay, so yeah, here we go. It's all nice and combined together. There's not dry pockets or anything in there anymore. So that is how you do your second day. And then I'll show you tomorrow, because it gets different again. And what we start doing tomorrow is what you're going to start doing for the rest of the time. We're going to start like the daily feedings. So just put your cheesecloth, paper towel, whatever, back on top, or really loose lid. I just like this because it does allow more yeast and stuff to get in there from the air. And I will come back tomorrow and show you guys the next step. And then this is just gonna go to Cedar. Why waste it? He'll enjoy it. Cedar is the pig, by the way, you guys. All right, I'll show you guys tomorrow the next step. All right, so we are on day 3 with our sourdough starter. So let's unscrew it. You guys can see that yesterday it got wild. It went all the way up here, and it's nice and bubbly in here. So, oh, I forgot to grab a spoon. Let me go grab a spoon. So day 3, we're going to start twice daily feedings with our sourdough starter. So I'll show you how to do the feedings. So I'm gonna turn on my scale. For you guys, usually I just like guesstimate, but we're gonna do this right. Change my unit, grams. And so what you wanna do is measure out 113 grams. It should be a little over half a cup of starter. 90, oh, that was a lot, hold on. clean the sides of this. And then the rest of this, I'm going to go take to Cedar. Oh, perfect, 113. It's actually 114, but we're not gonna be too nitpicky. It's close enough. It's close enough, you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna get a little bowl to put that in, and then that's going to go to Cedar, or the chickens, but probably Cedar, because he really enjoys it. Where is, I need a scrap bowl. Hold on. We'll use this one. So the rest of this, we're discarding, feeding to the pig. I know it seems like a shame. You could go ahead and make another starter with it if you wanted, but you would have a lot of starters by the end of this process if you did that every time you fed it. I just feed it to the pig. Alright. And again, we can't scrape everything out of here, so we're going to end up with a little over 113 grams. If that makes you absolutely insane, get a new jar. It doesn't bother me. I am not a perfectionist. Alright, I'm going to add this back into here. Ooh, I'm making a mess today. Alright, we've added it in. And now what we're going to do is add in, again, if you guys have been watching the process, 1 cup of flour. I need more flour. Alright. I make such a mess. I'm a terrible cook. A terrible clean cook. I'm not a terrible cook. I just suck at being clean while I cook. Now we're going to add in, I'm adding in warm water. Again, my house is cold. So I've got a full cup of warm water in here. We're going to start with about half a cup. See where we're at, and then add in more if we need to. So mixy. Actually, I think the half a cup will do it today. Maybe not. It's a little dry. I was hoping. All right. Tiny bit more. 3/4 a cup. That's our winner. So for me today, 3/4 a cup was the winner. And then mix it all in nicely. All right. And then I'm going to clean up the edges of my jar and put the cheesecloth and the lid back on and go set this up. And I'll take a video of it in a couple hours here so you guys can see how much it's actually, like how active it actually is. Editing Kayla here again. I realized that I forgot to tell you guys how often you need to feed your sourdough. So you need to feed it twice a day, so in the morning and at night, like roughly 12 hours apart. So that's what you do. So you do that feeding process twice a day for as many days as it takes to get really bubbly within 2 to 3 hours of feeding it. For me personally, it took 5 hours. You will see that in the next clip, but some people it might take more than 5 hours, or 5 hours. You guys, apparently I need a nap today. For me, it took 5 days, but it might take more than 5 days for you. So yeah, that's just, everyone's sourdough is different. It depends on how much wild yeast it's able to capture to start with. It depends on the temperature that it's at, the type of flour that's being used. This one luckily worked really great and was a quick one for me, but it might be a little bit longer for you. Don't get frustrated, just keep up those twice daily feedings. Once it does get good and bubbly within 2 hours or so of adding and feeding it, then you can go down to once daily feedings or pop it in the fridge if you're not going to bake a lot and feed it like once a week. And then just pull it out before you're ready to bake for a day or two to get it nice and active again. So yeah, that's how you feed your sourdough. So day 5 of my sourdough starter. I say she's ready. I'm gonna transfer this to a bigger jar. And yeah, definitely active and smells like sourdough. So transfer it to a bigger jar, and then I will make some sourdough bread tomorrow. Okay, now on to the bread making portion of sourdough. I forgot to film the first part, sorry you guys. But in this bowl here, I have a cup of my starter, which in order to measure out the cup of your starter, you stir it down so it's not all fluffy, and then just take a cup out. 2 cups of flour, and then enough water for it to come together. And then I let that sit out overnight. This makes like a super tangy sourdough bread because sourdough bread. This makes a super tangy sourdough bread because that's what I like. If you don't want it as tangy, you can skip like the overnight portion and just throw all the ingredients together until it forms a dough, a shaggy dough, which is what I'm about to do. So to this, I'm going to add 2 cups of flour, and then I'm going to mix it and then add enough water to make a shaggy dough if I need to add more water. Got my spoon, y'all. All right, so I'm gonna add in my 2 cups of flour. There's some cheesecloth in my flour. 1, 2, and we want this to become like a super shaggy dough. So let's see what we get when we start mixing. I think we're definitely gonna need some more water. So I just have a cup of warm water right here next to me, and I'm gonna add just a tiny bit to start. We'll do like that. That's probably like 1/4 of a cup that I just put in. Ooh, it smells so good. All right, almost, just a tiny bit more. There we go. Yep, and that's what you want. You don't want it all necessarily to be absorbed. And then this is going to sit here for about 30 minutes until the water just kind of absorbs into everything. And I'm going to be putting this on top of my wood stove where it's nice and warm. And then I will come back in 30 minutes to show you guys the next step. Oh, here's the dough. See, there's still little bits of flour, and it's not like perfectly absorbed into everything. That's what you want. This is what you want. Okay, so I'm back. This has rested. You can see most of the flour's been absorbed. Oh no, a hair got in there. Come here. So now what I'm going to do, and hopefully this angle is better. I changed the angle. I have in here about 1/4 cup of water and 2 teaspoons of salt. And we're gonna pour that in and mix it. And don't worry, if it gets loose and runny, it's gonna be okay. As you can see, it's already started to rise. All right. I might have let this rest a little too long, but it's okay. It'll get all absorbed in again. So now this is going to go back up on top of my stove like this and rest for an hour, and then we'll begin or start rising for an hour, and then we'll begin the folding process, because you don't really need this. You fold it. So I will be back in an hour to show you guys how to fold it. All right, so it is time to begin the dough folding process. It's super easy. So you pick it up and fold it in on top of itself, up and on top of itself, up and on top of itself, and just rotate your bowl as you go until you get around the whole thing. I'm almost there, and I think that's it. And then this sits for another half hour, and I come back and do that again, and I do this every 30 minutes for 2 to 3 hours until the dough looks right and ready to go. I'll show you what that is. All right, I'm gonna cover it and put it back up where it's nice and warm. All right, so I just finished its final folding, and now I'm going to put some flour down on the countertop, plop it onto there, form a ball, and then I'll show you what to do. Flour my surface. Pull the dough out. It's a little sticky, but that's okay. Turn it over. Now I just kind of tuck it under itself, form a little ball. Flour the top nicely and all of the sides. And then I have a bowl here because I don't have proofing baskets. So I've got a piece of parchment paper set up over the bowl. I'm going to grab my dough, set it in here. That way as it proofs, it rises up and takes a round shape instead of being a flat blob. And while this is doing its last proof for 30 minutes, I have my oven. Well, I'm putting it in the wood stove, so I have to stoke the fire, but I'm going to get it to around 450-ish with my Dutch oven inside. And then I'm going to pop this into my Dutch oven with the lid on and cook it for 30 minutes, and then take the lid off and cook it until it's golden brown. And it's done. I went ahead and cut a piece so you guys can see like the inside is super soft. So yay. All right, I'm gonna go eat dinner.